Thanks for joining us for the Invest Well Retirement Series. I'm Mallory Hoff. Joining us today is the CEO and founder of Wall Private Wealth. Without further ado, Michael Wall.
Thank you, Mallory.
Michael, thank you so much for being here. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Michael, the name of the game, it seems like with everything, is efficiency, of course. Yeah. And our session today is all about having an efficient portfolio. Looking forward to hearing what that means for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think this is very important when you look at your investment structure and investments in general. And I find often from my experience that a lot of families that connect with us at our firm, at the firm level, through Wall Private Wealth, U.S. Private Wealth, they want to come in, they want to get a second opinion, they're dealing with either myself or our team. One of the things that I've found, and we found over the years, is simply the fact that they think their portfolio is efficient, but it really is not. And so I want to take a moment and break this down for you because I think it's going to be pretty easy. Hopefully I can spell along the way, but portfolio. All right, we got it, Mallory. Pretty good. Not two L's, just one. We made it. So an efficient portfolio really is the idea of making sure that we take advantage of all opportunities available to complement one to another. Investments are supposed to be designed, investments in products and different things that you may utilize, they are supposed to be designed to be complementary. And oftentimes we see that often is not the case when someone comes in and we look at their portfolio and kind of uncover what's happening. So we found over the years that the efficiency in the portfolio can really come from utilizing 4 different aspects and actually incorporating them into your overall investment structure. Oftentimes with investments, we see the financial world, they'll go into the place of kind of throwing dirt at one to another. You have market-based products or investments that are just on the market, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, whatever. Those types of advisors or investors might say, hey, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. And then you have insurance-based products like annuities and other things saying, hey, you shouldn't do that and you shouldn't do this. So they're kind of fighting one to another, and it creates a lot of confusion with consumers. Well, he said this is good. He said this is bad. She said this is good. She said don't do that. What should I do? Well, the answer is, I don't look at it as the fact that there's good or bad of everything. I look at the fact that they are all tools. And just like tools are designed to do different things. If I was in a place where I wanted to put a screw into the wall and I had a hammer, provided there wasn't a stud behind that hammer, I would be able to get the screw into the wall. Now the problem is that screw would come out quicker than it was originally intended to, because I used the wrong tool. That doesn't necessarily mean that the hammer is bad. It just means it's the wrong tool for the job. So appropriately and effectively, when we look at creating an efficient portfolio, what we're doing is we're taking advantage of a myriad of tools and bringing them together to complement one another, to maximize, balance out, and create really the efficient portfolio. So what does it include? Well, an efficient portfolio takes into account the idea of considering insurance-based products. Now, I know many of you that are watching this or listening to this, you might be saying, I've had a bad experience with this or that, or I've heard annuities are bad, or I've heard annuities are good. Well, there's good and bad of everything. We have to make sure that we understand that, right? There's good doctors, bad doctors, good this, good that. There's good and bad of everything. We have to realize that there's good and bad even in the insurance world. But insurance-based products are something that must be considered. The next thing that must be considered is stock market investments, right? That would include things that most of you are already familiar with. The idea of stocks and bonds and mutual funds and ETFs and things like that. All of those are things that must be considered. And then we must consider as well the whole idea of private equity. This is the idea, and by the way, I go a little bit more in depth into another session specifically into private equity, if you care to go visit that video. But one of the things private equity does is it gives us the ability to reduce some of our market risk by investing into opportunities through companies that are literally off market. Very important. The other thing that we want to look at is we want to make sure that we're looking at diversified real estate. I'm going to do RE, but diversified real estate. This is also very important. Real estate is a part of our culture. It's a part of how we live. And there's a lot of different types of real estate that we can utilize. And last but not least, we want to make sure that this is also being looked at from the lens of tax planning. We want to ensure that we have tax planning on our portfolio. As we incorporate all of these together, we actually create what's called the efficient portfolio. So we don't have a lens of saying we're just going to do this or just that. And oftentimes, in our experience of helping families, Mallory, over the years, families will come in when they get a second opinion on their wealth, and you know what they'll have? They'll often be in a place where most of their investments are right here. So there is no efficiency because they're not taking advantage of the other structures that do exist, which will complement one another to really help create that efficient portfolio.
Michael, I think a lot of people think they put a lot of time and energy into setting up their portfolio. They're pretty sure it's efficient. They don't really want to make any changes. Everybody should get a second look. Is that right?
Well, I think they should. And, I love what Zig Ziglar once said. He said, there's change is stressful, but so is unemployment, and so is not having the kind of results that you want with your investments. So at the end of the day, change is a necessary part of our culture. We must be willing to change. We must be willing to internalize that change and take simple, easy steps to create change with the right advice to help us get to where we need to go.
Michael, thank you so much for breaking that down for us today.
Yeah,
we certainly
absolutely.
do appreciate it. And if you think that your portfolio could potentially be just a little bit more efficient, log on to www.leanonthewall.com. There you can connect with Michael and his team and continue the dialogue.